Howdy ladies and dudes, I'm the Roleplay Gamer, and I'm about to hit you with some news. So strap yourself in and deal with it. News, oh it's the news. So it's looking to be the year of the RTS. Personally, Grey Goo and Homeworld Remastered really did it for me. But the year's far from over, guys. In fact, it looks like it's only just begun, because now we've got 2 more RTS games on the horizon, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let's start with the more interesting of the two, at least as far as I'm concerned. We've got Ashes of the Singularity from Stardock and Oxide Games. It's a large-scale RTS, and by large scale, I mean tens of thousands of units. The engine that they're using is a nitrous engine, nitrous from Oxide. Oxide Games, that kind of made me chuckle. And they brag that it can handle 10,000 plus units. Now, I'm not sure if that's 10,000 plus on the screen at any one time or in the whole game. So I guess we'll find out about that. And they keep referring to conquering planets like it's not, you're not winning a battle, you're winning a war. So each game is a war instead of like across a whole planet. So that, I mean, in my mind, I'm visualizing possibly a spherical map similar to Planetary Annihilation, just bigger. Though then again, maybe they do it in sort of a Risk game board kind of way, but it certainly feels almost like a real-time sci-fi Risk, which is kind of cool. Another interesting point here is meta units. So we've got like shitloads of bloody units. How are you going to control them all? So the way they're planning to do it is no micro in a sense. They reckon you can micromanage individual units, but you won't want to. So what I get from the way they've described it is meta units are something along the lines of smaller units being linked together into a group. Think strike groups from the Homeworld series. And they're kind of under the control of larger units. So the example they gave was like short range tanks will always by default defend the long range units in their meta unit group. So I don't know. So you'll be moving like these sort of battalions or little armies around. Based on the screenshots, I'm just guessing that you got sort of like a commander type large unit that's the one that's controlling all the others or something like that. I'm not entirely sure because of course I haven't played it. I haven't really seen any proper gameplay footage or explanation or anything like that. So I guess we'll find out. It's an interesting feature. I'm curious to see how it turns out. But there's not a lot of information on it at the moment. It looks like there are 3 to 4 resources. We've got metal and radioactives, which I assume sort of takes the place of mass and such from like Supreme Commander. Then you've got power, which is required to run your buildings. So I'd be interested to see whether that's more like the Supreme Commander version of power or Command & Conquer 3 version of power. The latter, I think, would be a lot cooler, so that if you can take out an enemy's power, you sort of stop their buildings. But that's an aside. Let's forget about that for a moment. So the way the power works is it seems that you don't actually build like power generators or anything like that. You've actually got to capture them. They're seeded throughout the world, and you've got to scoop them up. Very much like sort of capture. I can't remember what they're called, like requisition points or something like that from Company of Heroes or whatnot. So I don't know how I feel about that. It seems like there is base building. They haven't outright said it, but they're talking about your structures, your buildings need power. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm a bit iffy on that. I like to have a little bit more control in my base, but I don't know. It could be interesting. And then you got this 4th resource called Computronium, which is some sort of, I don't know, it's linked into the story, so I'm not going to comment on that. I have no idea what it does. Anywho, as you might surmise from the screenshots currently on screen for your viewing pleasure, it looks kind of Supreme Commandery. That's why I keep mentioning that as a comparison. They reckon their influences are Sins of a Solar Empire, I suppose maybe in the scale, and that could be a hint at how the bases work, that maybe you got like one structure that you sort of upgrade instead of placing buildings. I don't know. Total Annihilation is an inspiration, and they reckon game mechanics, like especially the capture stuff, just like I said, is inspired by Company of Heroes. So, I don't know, it could be awesome. I'm not like burning to play it, but it seems to have some interesting ideas, and more than anything, I'm just curious to see how they manage some of these features. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. So that's Ashes of the Singularity. It's going to be coming to Windows PC, and they're looking into doing Mac, SteamOS, and Linux versions as well in the future. Next up, we've got Servo, which is again from Stardock, and this time Bonus XP. Now, it looks like Bonus XP has just done a couple of mobile game nonsense in the past, but I can't be sure of that. I'm not a huge researcher, so if you're interested, check that out for yourself. But this one, Servo, is, again, an RTS, it's the point of the video, where you, and I quote, RTS game where you customize your team of giant war machines called servos with parts they earn in battle. So it looks like a MOBA, it sounds like a MOBA, it smells like a MOBA. Apparently it's not a MOBA. Apparently it's got base building and an economy. So now I'm like really morbidly curious to see how this thing actually plays out. So I'm just going to be perfectly honest and cynical here. I'm getting a strong vibe of potential microtransaction nonsense here. You're collecting parts to upgrade your units. There's strong potential for them to be like, hey, get the parts you want, let's bypass the random number generator and just boom, shell out some ducats and we'll get it to you. Look, now, like I said, being completely cynical, this is entirely speculation. Maybe it's nothing like that. Anywho, that's really all I've got to say. We've got Ashes of the Singularity and Servo. No sign of a release date yet. Looks like they're both planning to go into early access. Ashes of the Singularity apparently already has DLC planned, 3 expansions, so take from that what you will. But it's RTS, guys, and that's never a bad thing. You can never have too many RTS games. Looks like the genre is making a comeback, and I'm pleased about that. So that's really all I wanted to say. If you're interested in these 2 games, check them out. Links in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.